أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We seek refuge from Almighty Allah against Shaitan, the accursed one, and we start with the name of Allah, the Beneficent and the Merciful. We give thanks to Him, the Almighty Creator and the Sustainer of the universe. We seek benedictions and blessings upon the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household, the tabi'un, to the day of reckoning. Our topic for today, inshallah, will be the pain receptors in the skin. The pain receptors in the skin. The skin particularly, it contains 3 layers. The epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous layers. The epidermis is the outer part of the skin, the one we can touch, the one that's feelable, while the inner part of the skin, the internal part of the skin, the internal layer is the dermis. So after the dermis, the underlying part is the subcutaneous layer. It contains a kind of fatty substance or a fatty material which helps to protect the pain receptors in the skin from damage. It is immediately found before the pain receptors. It serves as a protection for the pain receptors in the skin. For us to know that the pain receptor is still found very deep inside the skin after the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous layer. Now, before we go into the definition of pain receptor and explanation on what the Qur'an has said about it, there's something to note about the Holy Qur'an. The Holy Qur'an is not a book of science, S-C-I-E-N-C-E, but it is a book of signs, S-I-G-N-S. Allah has revealed the Holy Qur'an to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and for it to be a guidance to us all. And we should also note that everything created by Almighty Allah, they all have their own signs, through which we gain that kind of communication of the fact that Allah has created so many things in a perfect way. That is why it is said that تفكروا في خلق الله ولا تفكروا في ذاته. Think about the creatures of Allah. Think about those signs in them. You will surely know some things about your Lord. You know how Allah works in a miraculous way. But do not think of the fact that is Allah a boy, is Allah a man, is Allah a woman. Those things, you are less concerned about those things. What you are more concerned about is for you to think about what Allah has created. You look around, see everything around you, you see the signs of Allah in them. That will make you acknowledge your Lord. Now, the pain receptors in the body, they are the cells, the internal cells in the body which make us feel pain. The modern science is telling us that pain receptors are responsible for feeling pain. Before, they used to think that the brain is responsible for feeling pain. It is not only the brain. We have the brain, the spinal cord, and other parts of the body. They work hand in hand in order for a person to be able to respond to the stimuli of pain. We have about 200 pain receptors in the body, and we have 15 for pressure, 15 receptors for pressure. 200 is for pain, 15 receptors for pressure, and we have 6 for cold and 1 for warmth, that is warmness. So recent discoveries prove that if there are pain receptors in the body, a person will be able to feel pain. But if they are not in the body, the person will not be able to feel pain. So when a doctor examines a patient suffering from burn, he verifies the degree of the burn. If it is a first degree burn or a very deep burn, he verifies it by pinpricking the patient. Once he pinpricks the patient and the patient does not feel the pain, that means the burn is a very deep one and it has damaged the pain receptors. So damaging the pain receptors leads to the patient not feeling any pain at all. But if the patient feels the pain, it means the pain receptors are still intact. We will still come to the explanation of the different types of burn we have. But before that, let's go into what the Quran is saying about it. In Surah An-Nisa, Quran 4 verse 56. Inna alladhina kafaru bi ayatina. Verily, as for those who believe in who disbelieve in our signs, that is, those who do not have the belief that Allah has put signs in each creature. He has put some signs in humans, he has put some signs in jinns, he has put some signs in animals, and so many other things. There is nothing you look into that Allah has created without seeing a sign or more. So those people who disbelieve in our signs, what will happen to them? سَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِمْ نَارٌ. We shall make them enter fire. Making them enter fire will make them enter fire. كُلَّمَا نَضِجَتْ جُلُودُهُمْ بَدَّلْنَاهُمْ جُلُودًا غَيْرَهَا. As their skins are getting burnt thoroughly, deeply, that word nadijat, it indicates the deep burning of their skin. As their skins are burning thoroughly, we will change them for other skins. We'll be replacing it with fresh skin. I'll still explain that. لِيَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ, in order for them to taste the penalty. Inna Allah kana azizan hakima. Surely Allah is the mighty and wise. Now this ayah is making us to know that we have different kind of burns, or it is making us to know the kind of burn Allah is trying to point out there. Let us go into the types of burns we have. We have 3 different types of burns. The extent to which somebody's skin is burnt determines if the person will feel pain or not, because that burn may lead to the damage of a pain receptor if it is deep. We have the 1st degree burn. It causes only redness and pain. That one is the 1st degree. You just feel pain on your body or redness. That one can go for about 1 or 2 days. You can just give it 1 or 2 days, it will go. It will heal. We have the 2nd degree burn. That one is marked by blisters. Akpama wambe. There will surely be blisters on it. In the 3rd degree burn, that one is a very deep burn. It affects the epidermis, it affects the dermis. They are destroyed, and also the underlying tissue, the subcutaneous tissue, it damages it. And do you remember the subcutaneous layer? It protects the pain receptor. If the subcutaneous layer is damaged, the pain receptor will surely be damaged, and the person will not feel any pain. This will bring us into the analysis that the Quran mentions this extreme stage for the change of skin by using the word nadijat juluduhum, which indicates the burning to the extreme stage. Hence, the Quran is telling us that as their body is getting burnt, as their body is getting burnt deeply, they won't want to feel that pain again. Immediately, it will be replaced with another one so that they will continue feeling that pain. Allahu Akbar. Do we understand what it's trying to tell us there now? As the body is getting burnt deeply, they wouldn't want to feel that pain again. So in order for Allah to continue to make them feel that pain, the burnt skin will be replaced with another fresh one again so that they will continue feeling that pain. Now, let us explain how a person feels pain. Now, I think I've explained what Quran is trying to tell us about pain receptors. Now, we've all known that for the fact that the Quran has been in existence for about 1,400 years ago. The Quran is a very valid book which shows what has happened in the past, what is happening presently, and what will be happening in the future. There is nothing the Quran does not tell us about this world, as far as this world is concerned, except if Allah has not given you the knowledge to know about it. وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. There are some kind of things Allah give us knowledge to know about. Why some we are not given the knowledge? That is to show the superiority of Allah over us. So now let's move to the explanation on how a person can feel pain. The sensation of pain results from the communication between the nerve cells in the brain. The brain, the spinal cord, and everywhere in the body, they all work together in order for somebody to sense pain. When a person experiences an injury, maybe a stubbed toe, for example, we have some cells called nociceptors or pain receptors. Let's use that one. The pain receptors, they receive that information of damage from the toe. After receiving that information, they send that message. That information, they send it to the spinal cord through sensory nerve. That message is called an impulse. They send the impulse to the spinal cord through sensory nerve. So from the spinal cord, there's a particular place in the spinal cord called the dorsal horn. The dorsal horn now takes that information or impulse to the leg through the motor nerve, receptors or the pain receptors. The message or impulse is passed through the sensory nerve to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, there is a particular place called the dorsal horn, which passes the message to the leg through the motor nerve. So the passing of the information to the leg through the motor nerve makes the muscles in the leg to contract. Injury. After pulling itself away from the source of injury, that's when you see somebody saying, ouch. Immediately something touches the leg, the person says, ouch. Because the muscles contract. That is due to the message passed to the leg through the motor nerves. So that same dorsal horn, after sending the message to the leg, it sends it up to the brain. So during this trip, the impulse travels between the nerve cells. That is how somebody feels pain. Do you notice that the transfer of impulses starts from the nociceptors, that is the pain receptors? Now, let's imagine the pain receptors is no more in the body again. How can the person feel the pain? The person can never feel the pain. This shows the importance of pain receptors, and this shows the significance of the power of Almighty Allah. Jalla Sha'nu. He is never comparable to anything. He is the most knowledgeable, the most superior over all things. Let's say Allahu Akbar. Inshallah, we'll be stopping here. May Allah give us more understanding about His signs and count us among the righteous ones and the successful ones. Like I always say, في الدنيا والآخرة. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجعى